Are you ready to dive into the world of project management? Hit that subscribe button as we explore how to stay relevant in an agile workforce. As a project manager, you are going to have meetings every single day. So you're going to have a structure. You're going to have to follow a plan. And PMI outlines a lot of structures and plans of how appropriate meetings should happen as a project manager. So let's follow along on this study guide. It's on the EverTech and the Project Leaders training page. I'm Andrew Everett, a PMI authorized training instructor for the CAPM and the Project Management Professional Certification Exam. We're going to first go with our first topic, agendas, actions, and accountability. This is a great way to achieve goals in meetings and create a clear agenda. Before a meeting starts, you have to have action items. And these action items instill accountability after that meeting. A quality meeting agenda includes the date, time, location of the meeting objectives, 3 to 6 agenda items accompanied to how long they'll take to discuss them and who the discussion leaders will be. There also has to be a clear explanation of the prep work for the meeting. The next topic that we're going to discuss is nothing captured, nothing gained technique. During this technique, you do a round robin with everyone, recapping what they are accountable for delivering. In certain situations, you can ask, who wasn't in today's meeting and who needs to know what we decided today? And how are we going to communicate this to them? Once decisions have been made and everyone knows how and who they will be communicated to, you need to set a date, time, and location for the next meeting. When you do this, make it clear that everyone will be responsible for reporting the results of their action items to that next meeting. And that also, you have to distribute a meeting summary within 24 hours of this completion. The meeting summary will reinforce the expectations discussed in the meeting. And by circulating this agenda before the meeting and following up with action items after the fact, you can make sure that your team members, their time, no matter how many meetings they had, was best managed. And you're making the most of that. And that's so critical to building relationships and sustaining that with them. We're going to talk about 3 questions that you should address during your daily stand-ups. During daily stand-ups, you don't need to ask 10 questions. There only needs to be 3. The 3 questions are, what did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And then what roadblocks stand in your way? What did they do yesterday? What are they going to do today? And what roadblocks do they have, or what's in their way? Ways to make stand-up meetings very efficient and effective. This is very critical. You don't want to waste individuals, project team members' time. Their time needs to be spent doing their, not sitting in meetings. A stand-up meeting is not a status meeting. You need to remember that, but rather actionable items based on what was done, what needs to be done, and what is possibly getting in the way. So remember that with stand-up meetings. It ensures that you stay in the direction and that you're committing to removing impediments. That's something that a Scrum Master does. Removing impediments. A project leader does this as well. You do not want to allow teams to stray away in technical minutes, because that will set up time or distract or bore other team members. Park those items and follow-ups so you can only work on the technical matters that you necessarily need to. Make sure that the product owner is there to answer any questions regarding requirements in the backlog. Keep a list of impediments prioritized, and you also need to understand the criticality to be able to speak their status at the start of the day. So you need to be able to speak on the statuses and understand the criticality of those impediments. Same thing as you're looking at it in predictive projects with those risks. So you need to have these meetings simultaneous, and you need to ensure that all team members remain until the end of the meeting. So all team members have to stay until the whole entire end of the meeting. You can't give special privileges, and say, okay, once this individual's done, they can go. If you or the product owner cannot attend, keep the meeting anyway and maintain that communication, consistency, and discipline. There is consistency that is critical in these meetings, as you see. So we're going to keep on talking about action items in these meetings. I want to also make sure that you're including the sponsor in these meetings as well. And this is with the kickoff meeting. The kickoff meeting should occur between the end of the planning stage and the beginning of the execution. You're about to kick everything off. So you need to have the sponsor, and you need to have it in between that planning and right before you're about to start executing. You can't kick it off, while you're executing. That's a little bit backward. You want to make sure that you have proper time and that you've done preparation prior to the kickoff meeting so that you're prepared. For the project manager, it's a great opportunity to identify your stakeholders, to demonstrate a common understanding of the goals and what's going to lead to the project's success. And then you can also map out stakeholder predispositions and ensure that their respective roles are understood. We're going to talk about some things to remember when scheduling this kickoff. The first thing is the invite list. You have to start off with a relevant list of stakeholders that are going to be in the room. This includes functional managers, the customer, and all those who may have influence either positively or negatively. So the meeting infrastructure. You need to consider the size of the room, amenities, coffee breaks, and anything else that will make that environment appropriate and attendees comfortable. The kickoff meeting is going to be your moment as the project manager to demonstrate that the project is well planned with mapped risks, but you need to keep the audience in mind. For example, the sponsor, often an executive with very little time to review the details, will be present at this meeting. You need to make sure that your presentation is concise, straightforward, clear, and showing where you want to go. The sponsor, which is the fourth thing. The great benefit of this kickoff meeting is to get them committed to the development and the success. With it, the project manager can avoid having his or her needs dismissed or diminished. So productive meetings use this criteria that's shown on this chart. You need to, if you need a formal meeting at all. You need to set the expectations for the meeting. You facilitate during the meeting. You allow conflict. You assign action items or steps. You delegate responsibilities. You let people leave and you have fun. We're also going to talk about tailoring for meetings dealing with C-suite individuals. So when you're dealing with C-suite individuals, you're dealing with executives, potential sponsors that have very high interest but very little time. Executives and project sponsors spend their days going from meeting to meeting, absorbing tons of information and making decisions as they go, forcing senior leaders to wade through minutes and minutia to hold their attention and avoid distractions. You're not going to get those results. You need to tailor the presentation to each member of the C-suite. So you're going to have to tailor this. You need to understand them as a stakeholder, and you need to understand their unique interests and what is drawing them to the project. You need to use that personal touch, learn effective communication styles that are going to tend and lead towards their excitement. You want to maximize time and also keep the projects on track. And the last topic that we're going to talk about in the meeting area is retrospectives. Retrospectives are the catalyst for continuous improvement on all projects, not only just in agile projects, but all projects, even predictive projects. In agile projects, one important meeting is called the retrospective, and it's held by the team at the end of every single iteration. And at this time, the team discusses what was successful, what could be improved, and how to incorporate that success and improvements for future iterations. This can also happen in predictive projects. Typically, it's done at the end, but you can do this at the end of each phase. Retrospectives catalyze continuous team improvement, improving feedback loops to examine methods, teamwork, and results. But holding continuous retrospectives is so much better when you continuously do this. That's where you need to get into a common cadence of doing this. You need to do this continually. It's so important than not doing this at all. If you don't do this at all, you don't hold retrospectives and understand what went good, what went wrong, what can we improve, then you're going to keep on doing the same. Same thing with your study habits, whether you're studying for the CAPM or the PMP. When you're taking practice exam questions, you're getting feedback, whether you got it right, whether you got it wrong. And if you got it right or got it wrong, it gives you opportunities for improvement. Either way, whether you need to know that same area or focus in on that same area, or whether you are mastering that area and you can focus on other topic areas. Once again, thank you for listening to this meetings study guide review. Understanding how to conduct appropriate and effective meetings is exceptional and critical for all project leaders and managers. You're going to need to understand this in all scenarios, how to do this on the job. You're going to have to understand how these scenarios work on the exam, whether it's CAPM or PMP. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. See you soon. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more project management content. See you on the next one.